Live from the virtual Road America here in beautiful virtual Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship live on Apex Racing TV. Welcome to our broadcast here on this beautiful Wednesday evening. I'm your host, Joshua Lee. Joining me alongside in the commentary box is Alessandro Dalladone with Marco Barbonera in the virtual production trailer. And Alessandro, only 2 rounds remain in the championship, and the points for the pro category are becoming closer and closer, as now only 19 points separate the top 2 of Grabowski and Costa. This is going to be an interesting round to see, can Costa close the door, or will Camille Grabowski continue to run away?
Oh yeah, for sure, Joshua. It's gonna be very, very, very close, and it's probably today gonna be one of the decisive moments of the championship. As you can see here on your screen, the championship standings with Kamil Grabowski for Evolve Racing leading the field with 630 points. Only 19, as you were saying, is the gap between him and Pascal Costa of Impulse Racing. And then in third place, Josh Cam for Porsche Sport at 544, so almost 100 points. Seems too big of a gap, but you never know. He is still in the hunt for the title. For Christiansen and Salvatore Lerner to round out the top 5, but here is also another very important championship for the amateur class, led by Leon Erger, the German driver from Frozen Speed and Racing, with 438 point gap that has been extended last event from pretty much closer call to now almost 50 points. So Kev Copeland has to step up, Joshua, today to close that gap, remembering that we also have drop weeks, so things might change.
And that gap might be a little bit too far for Kev Copeland. Now, Leon Erger hasn't officially locked up the championship just yet, but he is getting fairly close, just in the way that the points are distributed in this championship. They are done based on overall points, and the maximum amount of points any given driver can get is by winning the race, and that would be a total of 64 points. So he's almost eliminated, with that gap being where it is, the gap being about 61 points. So that extends 3 more points, and Kev Copeland will be officially eliminated, and we could walk out of here with Leon Erger being the champion of the AM class. And it's going to be interesting to see exactly if he can do that today, Alessandro, because it could be a bad day for Leon Erger, but I don't think we've really seen a bad day from him yet this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be the day he clinches the title, but it's also the day where Kev Copeland could actually come really, really close. And as he always said in our interviews, Joshua, Leon most of the time had to learn the tracks from scratch, so it's always a big challenge for him every week to come here and perform, but he's done brilliant so far, and I'm sure that it will be very competitive as we are already halfway through the qualifying session.
Taking a look just at the stats from the last couple of rounds, it has been a very close championship for both Costa and Grabowski. For reference, Grabowski's worst finish is 3rd overall, and that came at round 2 and round 7, as well as round 5. The worst finish for Pascal Costa is 4th, and that came at round 6 and round 1. So both of them very, very even. And you go even far as down as Josh Cam for Porsche Sport. He's finished in the top 5 in every race except for round number 4. Had a bad day there, ended up 16th. So we're seeing a lot of drivers be consistent, rack in those points. Leon Erger, another consistent one where he had a 4th overall finish at round 4, and that's his best finish of the season in the overall. And in the AM class, he's been as far up as 7th to get the win in the AM class in 1 round. So it's very, very close, the championship fights. Copeland has an opportunity to reel in Erger more, but he's going to need Leon Erger to have not such a great day. And right now, he's not exactly having the best qualifying either, but as I say that, right to the top of the board in the AM class, 210, 802, up to 11th overall is the 222.
Yeah, great lap by Leonberger, moving himself up in the amateur pole position. But look also who's come back in the lead, Grabowski with an incredible lap, 2:09.7. He is now our pole sitter. Look at where Costa is in ninth, now improves and goes back in second place, which is where he needs to be if he wants to try to get the title.
So Grabowski leads now in qualifying by about 0.3 of a second, waiting on a couple more cars to come across the line. They have 2 minutes left to get those final laps in. Lewis Ward across the line. He sits in fourth, 2:10.19 his best lap. A couple other drivers making their way out onto the track to try and get at least one more time in, but it doesn't look like really anybody else who's exiting the pit road right now is going to be able to, as it's about 2:10 the lap times. So you need to be already on your flying lap if you want one more opportunity. It looks like Lewis Ward is out on the track doing one more time to try and get it in. As more time start to rack their way in. Roger Christensen about to finish a lap. So is Josh Cam, Luke Maxwell, Thomas Grendel. All looking to improve on their times. Christensen looking to improve on a 2:09.746. We'll see if he is able to do so as he comes across the line. Doesn't look like he will. A 2:11 for Roger Christensen. That's going to keep him in 7th place. Luke Maxwell coming off the final corner for OLF Racing. Sits in 5th in the AM class, 19th overall. Can he improve at all and catch up to Leon Erger up at the front? He does slightly, and he does. He passes Leon Erger for the pole. 2:10.761. Only 1 second behind the top of the pro class. A great lap for Luke Maxwell.
Yeah, great lap by Maxwell, and we still have quite a lot of drivers coming across the start-finish line now, setting their last lap time, as most of the field already is sitting down on pit road. The only driver so far that hasn't set a valid lap time is Paul Robson, as Nick Rowland is having to face a double pit lane start today from previous penalty points on his license, a qualifying ban. No. Last week we had quali bans, unfortunately, because of some issues in the simulation, but now I can confirm you that he's back. The pit lane start, so Nick Rowland will be starting from pit road.
Other drivers starting from pit road for 2 pit lane starts in both races. That's David Plasman. Nick Madsen would also have a double pit lane start, but he is unfortunately not going to take the grid today. Single pit lane starts from Damian Harris, Peter Wadsworth, Austin Foster, and Dennis Meisner. So we'll see them start from the pit lane here in race number 1. But here's the starting grid for race number 1. Grabowski, a great time. He'll start on the pole. Pascal Costa in second. Salvatore Larnay, Lewis Ward, and Christopher Kochenek round out your top 5 for the AM class. Sorry, for the pro class. Down to the AM class. Luke Maxwell getting the best of Leon Erger there. They're the top 2 leading to the start-finish line. Michael Fang, Kev Copeland, and Fabian Meyer round out your top 5 for the AM class. And another decent qualifying effort from Kev Copeland, but he's going to need a great race with number 1 if he wants to jump Leon Erger in the points. And there's the rest of the AM class and the rest of the pro class all the way down to the bottom of the field. 29 cars going to take the green flag here at Road America for race number 1 of round number 8 of the championship. We only have 9 rounds, so 1 round remains after today here in the virtual Road America. So next week, we're going to be at the Virginia International Raceway, going racing around that course for the finale and crowning 2 champions in the pro class and the AM class. But we're also going to have teams champions for the overall. So crowning 3 total champions next week. But now we got to settle it out in Wisconsin. Let's go racing. Great start for Grabowski on the inside. Costa already getting the best of him on the outside. Can he get by him going into turn number 1? A dynamite start for the 167. He covers off the lead as they head into turn 1.
A Yeah, great start by Costa. I saw him having a very good reaction time and did get... Oh, Erger is out! Erger is out. He's in the wall.
Leon Erger way off the track. Does he have any damage? It doesn't look like it to the front end. Does he have any damage to that side on the back? We'll see if we can grab a replay. But we might have more incidents further on back as they race down the Moraine sweep. A few cars around the 271. Dan Parmalee's in the grass. Huge damage to the front left.
Yeah, here we are in this very treacherous corner with cold tires and everyone side by side. The driver managed to go side by side through here without having any contact. Very unfortunate in the mid-pack and Leon Erger. What a costly mistake so far.
Drivers now racing out of turn number 7. Down into the hard braking zone at turn 8. They'll make their way over to the carousel. Battle for the lead still continues between Costa and Grabowski. You can see Salvatore Larnay falling back a little bit as Christopher Kochanek in 4th. Running out top 5 off the front of the lead is Lewis Ward for Team 11 as they make their way now through the carousel. One car in the grass on the inside. That's the 217 of Michael Fang looking for second place in the AM class on Luke Maxwell. He's going to grab that spot. Kev Copeland, a dynamite start for him as well. He's up to first in the AM class.
Yeah, great style by Kev. Has always been showing a very consistent pace and smart driving as we have side-by-side racing in front of him between Kessler and Humphrey. But we look back at the lead of the race with Pascal Costa doing his job, making sure to stay in front of Grabowski. It's gonna be hard to get a lot of points on him, but you never know, especially race 2 as we have a smoking car. It's Humphrey locking the front tires. It is a very difficult final corner.
Up the hill on the front straightaway to head on to lap number 2. Here's Leon Erger looking to rebound after that spin on turn number 1. He's already down 13 spots from where he originally started the day. Now making that 12 spots as he gets past Paul Doman for 10th in class, 24th now on the leaderboard in the overall standings. So he's got a long ways to go to catch up to Kev Copeland. That's Fabian Meyer around in the wall.
Very difficult spot to get back on track as plenty of drivers are coming. He now waits for Nick Rowland. Oof, that's not how you're supposed to turn around. Unfortunately, he got the wall on the other side and his car is pretty much damaged.
Now making their way back up the hill, heading into turn number 6. On board with Pascal Costa, who got the lead off Kamil Grabowski right on the start. And now Grabowski trying to fight his way around, but he cannot get anywhere near that back bumper of Pascal Costa yet. He gets close, just not able to make a pass as they head into the carousel.
You see how difficult it is to make a pass happen all season, Joshua. These cars are identical. The setup changes you can make are not very big. As we see someone go very slow here, as Peter Mackay manages to go through Folland, maybe some damage for him, as Larnay goes a rally crossing and he manages to come back on track without crashing. That is a very big trouble spot.
Side by side now, Larnay on the inside, Kochanek outside, Lewis Ward for Team 11 now going to join this fight. He's going to go to the left side of Kochanek, and Kochanek closes the door in the 114. He's going to keep P4 overall and in class, but Larnay now looking to keep pulling away in 3rd place to catch up to that lead pack. Oh, one car off grass and into the wall. It's Thomas Grendel. Dropping down the field now is the 113.
Yeah, did he get some help there? That looked quite a very strange trajectory to take the last corner as Grabowski looks at the inside of Costa, but is still too far. He will have the backstretch here to get even closer to attempt a pass on the slow left-hander, but what a battle for first place, George.
Continuing to fight for P number 1 is those two up ahead. The way the points are structured between 1st and 2nd is first place will grab 64 points at the end of this race and race number 2. The points are combined, so each race means more points. And 64 points for the winner, but it's a difference of 8 points between first and second, so Costa is gaining 8 points on Kamil Grabowski right now. If he keeps where he is and wins both races, if Grabowski gets second or worse, he has an opportunity to either get within 3 points or even take the points lead heading out of this round.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very, very important, and even more important is gonna be race 2, where they will have to navigate through slower cars, slower drivers, at least on paper, and have a 30-minute race. So it's gonna be even more important, as you see how these drivers are always inches from the gas, sometimes even touching the grass to use all the width of the track. That's why faster than me for sure. Look at that.
And there's that what you were just talking about, Alessandro. Pascal Costa hitting a bit of that dirt, a bit of that grass on the outside of the racetrack, just maximizing all the track limits they possibly can. If they're not getting an off track or a slowdown, it's completely fine to do as long as it doesn't slow you down. And Copeland now trying to defend on his Evo SR teammate Bob Humphrey for 11th overall. Leon Erger is starting to slowly crawl his way up. Last time we checked in with him, he was 12 positions down from where he started. Now he's 8 positions down, about to get by our Apex Racing TV commentator colleague, Peter Mackay. As you can see, down the front straightaway, on board of Leon Erger in his Frozen Speed Full Send Racing Porsche to the inside of Mackay, heading into turn number 1. So he is rebounded now to 20th overall, but that's still a difference between him and Kev Copeland in terms of points by about 9 points. So he needs to keep on regaining those positions. And look at the move now to the right side. Goes Salvatore Larnay. And to the outside for the lead is Kamil Grabowski. Hits the grass, not going to get the pass done. Still going to be on the inside is Costa as they head into the right-hander.
A great defending maneuver by Costa now. The switchback, but Costa will still have the inside. It's very difficult to side by side. Grabowski, maybe there was a slight touch, and now Grabowski have the inside in this braking zone. He will have the favorite line, and indeed he manages to go through and now defend the P1. A great drive by Grabowski, but both drivers showing their amazing pace and racecraft, because that was an exceptional moment side by side all through the middle sector.
So Grabowski grabs the lead now ahead of Pascal Costa. And Costa needs to get right back on by, or Grabowski's just going to keep widening that gap for the points lead. On board of the Christopher Kochenek as he tries to catch up to Salvatore Larnay. They are closing into this lead pack as well, the difference being only about 7/10 between the battle for first and the battle for third.
Yeah, absolutely. Salvatore Larnay is definitely not slow, but I think lacks a bit of pace compared to the first 2 drivers. But till they keep fighting like this and taking different lines from the preferred one and passing each other, is gonna give them the chance to stay very close, as a Kochenek now as they outside really make it work. It looks like he's clear, and indeed he takes a 3rd position from Salvatore Larnay. Kochenek now hunting down Costa and Grabowski. Larnay now defending from Lewis Ward. Seems to have some issues, the Italian driver, sorry, to maintain his position in this last few laps, Joshua.
So you can see on board with Lewis Ward as he now tries to get by Salvatore Larnay, who falls to 4th on the leaderboard. Looks to the inside, barely there. Larnay runs a little bit wide, taps the grass, and right on around goes Lewis Ward for Team 11. This top, I'd say about top 6, top 7, all running fairly close together on the racetrack. It's Grabowski, Costa, Kochenek, Ward, Larnay, Christensen, and Cam. You have to look a little bit further back to find Brown, but Luke Maxwell going off track. He had a great qualifying time, started on the pole for the AM class, it has now fallen back to 5th in class. Not the best race number 1 for Luke Maxwell as we're now halfway through.
Yeah, but he needs to be careful because behind him is Leon Erger, managed to go through some other drivers. Behind him also Nick Rowland starting from pit road. He is looking to get into that 16th position at least to start up front race 2 and get the maximum out of this weekend. As we see here, Christiansen missing the braking point and unfortunately meeting the barriers. I think he will have to throw down pit road because that car is not gonna go anywhere.
A huge slam into the tires for Roger Christensen. This was a complete miss of the braking zone. And nothing you can do when you get on that grass and that sand. Alessandro just carries the car.
Yeah, indeed, nowhere he could go. As you can also have a look at the mistake from Christiansen from Lewis Ward car.
Ooh,
very, very close. That was a very close call. As I think we lost, or there was another mistake while we were looking at a replay from David Bikedek, promptly here on our screen. A driver from England losing the car on entrance in the last corner, managing very, very good to avoid the barriers. We've seen multiple cars and there and Yuka who's surfing the car is on that sun. But car is fine.
Luckily able to keep it going, and he's only down into 10th in the AM class at the moment, but Roger Christensen now down in 15th in the pro class. Not a good day for him in race number 1. He'll have another opportunity in race 2. As we head back up to the battle for the lead, Grabowski and Costa, it's still those two, but Kochenek and Ward have closed that door. If Kochenek can close it a little bit more, he might have an opportunity to get by Costa for second, and then in turn have an opportunity to get by Grabowski for the lead. And there's Roger Christensen making his way out of the pit lane. So he grabs some repairs and he is back on the racetrack, albeit believe almost one lap down. I don't believe he lost a lap, but he's down in 27th overall. Not good for him. But here's the battle for the transfer spot now. This is Luke Maxwell in 16th, who started on the pole of the AM class in race number 1 here, but has fallen down the order now, 16th overall. And here's Leon Erger up in front. What I'm wondering, Alessandro, is if Leon Erger gets by and if he doesn't get punted by Nick Rowland there. That was almost very close going into Canada corner, but if Leon Erger gets by Luke Maxwell, do you think he's going to start, I don't want to say sandbagging, but just holding his position, not passing anymore, because he'd be on the pole heading into race 2?
No, I don't think so. I think he will go for any position he can get. He knows he's very fast, and if he doesn't make a mistake in the second race, he will be having the pace to make even more points. So I think he will go for it. You can never know. He might make a mistake later in the race. You don't want to sandbag too much. Sometimes it can bite you back, let's say. So he needs to get the more point possible in this race 1, as we see also Costa now looking very, very close at Grabowski, same behind him with Kochenek and Ward. Only 1 second the gap between the leading pair and third place, so 3 wide. Oh boy!
Oh, and a lockup from the 116. That's Nick Rowland for Satellite Racing. Off into the runoff area. That puts Erger out the 16th, but who's around? That's Bob Humphrey in the 136. Oh, and off track goes Christopher Kochenek as well.
Plenty of mistakes, one after the other from very good drivers. Kochenek making a very rare mistake and dropping a few positions. Roland was super close to that transfer spot to get a reverse pole. Ooh, look at this understeer from Josh Cam. Gives Kochenek now the chance to get inside in this very big braking zone.
Oh! Another lockup from Kochenek, but he keeps the car under him. Does not go up to the car on his outside. That's the 177 of Josh Cam for Porsche Sport. Andrew Brown for Grip TV in 7th right now. You're looking back at 6th and 7th of Cam and Brown. From the back end of Christopher Kochanek, who sits in 5th currently. And who's joining that fight back there? That's Tor Bervin for Team Vikings Ragnarok. 4 cars battling close together for P5.
Yeah, battles everywhere. Someone who would love to have something happening in front and some cars out is definitely Kev Copeland in 10th place. He's scoring big points, but look at Erger, 15th place now. Is having the chance to make even more points as we have Cam defending the inside on the Brown, and Brown unfortunately cannot make it around the outside, but what a great spectacle we are having today here at Road America.
On board with Pascal Costa. 4 minutes remaining here in this race. I don't think they're gonna get around in time to take the white flag this time by. Most likely gonna be next time by, but we'll keep an eye on that timer, see exactly when they're gonna end up coming across the start finish line for the white flag lap. But the battle for the lead still continues, and now it's Ward, Larnay, and Kochanek, your top 5. Ward finds himself the highest up he's been all day in 3rd. 1 car off track, and that is Lewis Ward for Team 11, right off into the grass. I apologize for that commentator's curse, Lewis, if you're listening.
Let's catch the replay. All by himself.
He's heading into one of the hardest braking zones, and it just looks like he just missed the braking zone into the sand, and only a slight tap to the wall. Not as hard as
trouble
did earlier.
Peter Mackay, Christoph Folland. What happened here?
It was Volant, and it looks like Paul Doman or Paul Robinson making their way into that wreck as well. There's a slight bit of contact maybe from Roland and Mackay, and that puts Roland into the wall. Mackay bounced off of Roland's car, and 1 car went flying into there. That was Christoph Volant in the 214.
Not a great day for Nick Roland, as we have 2 laps left, so no white flag this time, as Grabowski manages to go through slower traffic. That was the 271 of Dan Parmley. Look at Costa, he lost some very important time here. Half a second now is the gap. You will see from our sector comparison the gap opening up, I think, in this second one. Actually, it closed down a little. Look at that last lap though, Joshua. Last 3/10. He lost the previous lap time and managed to get a bit more lucky than Grabowski in this Fang trying to make a pass on Kev Copeland, who needs to hang on this 9th place because any point is super valuable to him to keep the championship up high. As Leon Erger is now up in 13th place with all the mayhem happening in front. He got some nice freebie as
Forster off. The Vulcan Sim Racing number 123 off and into the grass, and right around goes Bob Humphrey, trying to regain some positions in that Evo SR 136.
Reverse pole sitter Forster till he made that mistake. Bob Humphrey, after going off track earlier, is now looking very good to make at least 16th place and get the pole for our 2nd race of the day.
Now taking a look at the battle between Cam and Andrew Brown. This has been going on for a couple of laps as Kamil Grabowski is going to come across the start-finish line this time by, grabs the white flag, and huge incident, Brown into the grass, so is Josh Cam. Cam ran him out of room, and right into the grass goes Andrew Brown as the white flag is now out. The battle between Costa and Grabowski still going on as they head into 1.
This is gonna be very, very close. Look how fast he's closing in. nothing to do here in this braking zone. You need to wait for the backslash with the slipstream and some nice attacking positioning. Costa might be able to make a pass work.
Here comes Costa, gonna look to the right side. Is he going to complete the pass? They are side by side as they head down into turn 5. Grabowski with the inside advantage. He's going to keep the spot. Can Costa get to Grabowski's inside anywhere on the racetrack? Bumper to bumper now as they head into turn 6. The battle going on for the AM class win now. Kev Copeland inside, Michael Fang outside. Copeland grabs the lead in the AM class. He's gonna try and run away and grab another race win for the AM class. But Copeland needs to keep defending as Fang still sits behind him. One car into the grass a little bit further back, but the 2 lead lap cars stay 1 and 2. As Grabowski leads out of the carousel. Can Costa have anything to say as they head into Canada corner?
This is really the last passing zone of the track. He can still try something in the last corner, but it's going to be very difficult as Grabowski now defends the inside. Costa will have the long way around him, tries to outbrake him, but there's no way he can make it. Look at how deep Grabowski broke there.
Can't make the crossover move work. Into the final corner, turn 14. Does he have anything to say? Doesn't look like he does. It's gonna be another race win for the 195 Evolve Racing Machine of Kamil Grabowski, and he extends that points lead now by 8 more points.
Kev Copeland in 9th will be our amateur winner. Great race from him. Oh, Fang is almost around. He loses 1 position, probably also to Ergo, which is not good to Kev Copeland. Kev Copeland is our amateur winner, but look at Leon Erger side by side with Gunnar and Senna, and it's not enough, unfortunately. Look how close they were. Leon Erger 11th place, what a comeback, but look at what it changed. P16, Forster is back in P16 and he's gonna be our reverse pole sitter. Bob Humphrey made a mistake and lost 2 positions in the final lap.
A great finish. And now with that finish you just mentioned with Erger grabbing that spot, Kev Copeland now only going to end up grabbing 2 spots, or 2 points, however, on Leon Erger when it comes to the championship. Here's what happened for the transfer.
Humphrey defending the inside, but then moves out on the preferred line. Seems oh, he just left him by. That's
very
weird.
Interesting for Bob Humphrey in the Evo SR machine. So we are going to take a look at the results for race number 1. And it looks like a couple more cars still need to head across the line. Christoph Volant being 1, Doan and Mackay also. Waiting on them to make their way across the line. Then we'll begin the 5-minute warm-up before race number 2 begins. So we'll invert that top 16 results from this race and go racing for 10 extra minutes, 30 minutes instead of 20 over in race number 2. And it's going to be an equally exciting race as we take a look at the replay on that last lap, or one of the last laps between Andrew Brown and Josh Cam heading into the final corner. They did have an incident out of that final corner, believe the second to last lap. And it was Josh Cam, just seemed like to us, Alessandro, just running him right out of room. And unfortunate for the driver to his outside of Andrew Brown. They didn't finish too far down the order, but definitely still lost a bit of time from Andrew Brown. And here's the replay of that incident.
Fortunately, we are having some technical issues to show you the replay. But nevertheless, Joshua, what an amazing start of the round. Race 1 was an absolute blast from the start to the finish. Not a single dull moment.
And we are not going to have a single dull moment either in race number 2. That's coming up right after the break. Stay tuned here on Apex Racing TV for race 2 of round number 8 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship from the virtual Road America. Stay with us. Welcome back to round number 8 of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship. Here is that replay of Andrew Brown and Josh Cam's incident, second to last lap of race number 1.
Oh, this is someone displaying frustration and anger after the finish line. This is not really what we want to see. That was after the race, but still something that the steward will have to look at post-race.
And that is going to be looked at by the stewards of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship, and would not be surprised by a ruling there and a penalty for the next round. But here's the results from race number 1. Another win for Kamil Grabowski. Pascal Costa just not able to get close enough in the 167. Lorne Kochenek and Max Kessler going to come in there in P number 5. A great day for him. Battles back. We didn't really talk about him at all during that first race, but comes in there, sneaks in, and grabs a top 5. Kev Copeland, Leon Erger, Michael Fang, Bradley Holst, and Luke Maxwell rounds out your top 5 for the AM class. They're going to start in the top half of the field here in race 2, and on the pole for race number 2 is going to be Dominic Forster. He'll share the front row with Lewis Ward for Team 11. So the top 16 will be inverted when we head into this race, and the question every round, Alessandro, is who from the pro class can work their way up the field and catch up and grab the overall win here in this race. Do you think it's going to be Grabowski, or do you think Costa can get the best of them here in race 2?
I think whoever will keep the car clean will be the favorite, to be fair, as every meeting. This race 2 start can be quite wild, so plenty of unpredictability in the first few laps, where all these pro drivers will have to navigate through slower traffic, if you can say that, and at the same time amateur drivers will go really hard at it, because that's when they can actually make the big points and open some big gaps to drivers that usually are faster than them and they usually have in front. So I expect another amazing race here at Road America, showing us always why in American motor racing is one of the most loved tracks.
Well, time running out here in the warm-up, and we're going to head into race number 2 and see exactly what's going to happen. The championships are nearing the end. Only 3 races remain, and 2 of those races are going to be next week in round number 9 when we conclude the championship. And we still have one more race here today, as it's time to take the grid for race number 2. And that starting grid, remember, top 16 inverted from race number 1 to set the grid for race 2. Dominic Forster, Lewis Ward share the front row. Luke Maxwell, Bradley Olson, row 2. Michael Fang, Leon Erger, Hans-Gunnar Hansen, Kev Copeland, Andrew Brown, and Josh Cam round out your top 10. Tor Bervin, Max Kessler sharing row 6. Christopher Kochenek, Salvatore Larne, Pascal Costa, and Kamil Grabowski rounds out your 16-car grid for the inverse of race number 1, and then it's the exact same race number 1 results from there on back, exactly how they finished. Scarlett, Comfrey, Bigadike, Robson, Grendel, Weir, Christensen, Volant in the final 4 positions, taken up by Doman, Mackay, Meyer, and Parmalee, with Nick Rowland unable to make a start here in this race. And it's time to go racing on the pole. Dominic Forster gets a good start. Lewis Ward, not the best start on the outside line. Luke Maxwell going to take over second place as they ward in turn 1.
Look how wide is the midfield with the drivers trying to make up as many positions as possible in this opening corner as someone is almost on the grass entering turn 1. It was the 114 of Kochenek.
Side by side already, that's Leon Erger trying to get by Bradley Holson, he does. That's the 5th, 1 car around further back, Hans-Gunnar Hansen into the wall.
Kev Copeland also involved, losing still a few positions, not what he wanted. Look how many positions Copeland lost and Erger up in 5th.
Taking a look at Dominic Forster, still leads the way. Lewis Ward still sits in 2nd. Michael Fang falls to 3rd with Luke Maxwell falling to 4th. He was up into 2nd going into turn number 1. He's fallen 2 spots now. Mirror full.
Bravo for Grabowski.
Grabowski around in the back. What happened to the Evolve Racing machine? The 268 at Copeland also involved. The 113, Thomas Grendel's in it too. Oh, and you can see still loose is Grabowski. He might have some problem with that car.
His car is done, he will limp. Oh, some more trouble, someone in around here at the carousel. Oh, 3 wide.
Humphreys around, 3 wide through the carousel, more contact, 1 car into the grass. Bigadike now around in the 213, hits the tire barrier.
We will have a replay coming as we have another swerving car here, very slow. Ward makes a move for first place in the meantime and is our race leader, but look at this great battle. Kessler up in 6th, passing Bradley Hirsch behind Brown, Kochenek and Kosten in 10. Costa can really swing the championship in his favor today.
Take a look at the replay. This is the incident from Kamil Grabowski. Up the hill into turn 6, and it maybe looked like some contact between him and Copeland. That sent Copeland around, and Copeland right back up into him.
Yeah, Grabowski was actually a bystander of that tangle. He was on the outside trying to avoid it, and unfortunately got clipped. But his race is pretty much over. Badri Ulson's around.
Andrew Brown into the grass. Who's with him? That's Bradley Holson, the 228.
Josh Cam on the grass, trying to avoid the wreck. Lerner behind him, almost clips him from behind. This is very, very wide, as I predicted, Josh.
So much going on the first 2 opening laps of race number 2. Lewis Ward now has the lead overall, and Grabowski's in the pit lane. This is going to spell disaster for his race 2. He's going to lose out on a lot of points. This could be the opportunity that Pascal Costa was looking for to grab the points lead.
Erger makes a move for 3rd place and gets the final spot of the podium from Michael Fang. So Erger looking very, very good. But look at Kessler on Maxwell. A very late dive from the drivers of Impulse Racing and moves up in 5th. It will be very, very helpful for his teammate in this phase of the race, giving him room and 1 car less to pass, because we know, even if they don't say it, that they will help each other.
Hans-Gunnar Hansen sits in 11th. Here's Kamil Grabowski out of the pit lane. Now these drivers in these races have 1 fast repair, so they are able to use that. For anybody not familiar with the fast repair, it basically just completely replaces your car, gets all the damage fixed, internal and external, and you can run right back out on the racetrack. So that's exactly what Grabowski did, but Alessandro is down in 24th. His main rival, Pascal Costa, sits in 7th. The points for 24th are 22 points. The points for 7th are 40. So that is a huge gap in points of 18. if Grabowski loses any more positions, he could lose the points lead, and Costa, either way, is going to close in so much as we head into the final round.
Absolutely, Costa can really have a chance to win this race too, while Grabowski is all the way back in 26th place, almost a minute off the lead, and he's gonna have a very hard time to even make a few positions, apart from some calamities happening up front. So it's gonna be very important for Pascal Costa to not get involved in any crashes, keep the car clean, score the most point possible, as Erger makes another pass, but he makes some mistakes actually. He goes very wide.
Contact hard into the wall goes Michael Fang.
What happened there? That was a very strange crash. Usually you lose the car on exit for too much wheel spin, but I think there was some help.
Here's the replay. That's the 123 to his right side. Oh, he looks like he got a little too far out, off track, swerved to get back on, and taps him, and around he went. That was the 123. I believe that was Luke Maxwell.
Oh, Maxwell almost with a love tap on. It was actually Kochenek on Maxwell, sorry. But as Kochenek tries to make a pass on the inside and sticks it in, so Kochenek up in 6th place. And another good race for the German. Luke Maxwell definitely there. Try to avoid end up in the gravel, and unfortunately just wiped out Michael Fang. That was an absolute bystander of the action.
That was Dominic Forster who ended up into the grass there, or ended up into the grass, swerving over and putting Michael Fang into the wall. Here's Roger Christensen, who had issues in race number 1. You remember, had to tow his way back to the pit lane after stuffing it into the tire barriers at the Canada corner. He sits in 11th now, but Bradley Hulse in the 228 looking to get his way by, as into the grass goes Nick Rowland. Narrowly missing the tire barriers there, Alessandro.
Oh boy, yeah, he needs to be very
did
careful.
not miss him.
We've seen Roland, but we missed Paul Domen. Let's catch the replay. There might have been some contact. Let's see.
Rolling to the inside, and it looks like just a slight contact between the two.
Let's go back live. Oh, Leon Erger, 10th place. Something happened to him. While we were watching the replay.
Take a look, right behind him is Dominic Forster in the 123.
Ooh, Forster again into some more trouble, and in that was also involved one of the Impulse cars. I think it might be
He's not happy with that one.
I think it was Costa, the Impulse car involved in that incident.
Let's take a look at another replay. 288 also went off track further back. That was Luke Maxwell. Incident with Roger Christensen as well, going into that same turn 5. Oof. Oh, complete lockup. Did he get in a wall? He got into the grass, but he kept it off the wall. Narrowly missing, no damage.
Yeah, you need to be careful, because if you go too deep there, you just fall in a spectrum and end up on pit road. So you don't want to lose a lap for that. As Lewis Ward is still our race leader, Costa showing plenty of pace, but unfortunately stuck behind slower cars. Kessler in second, his teammate is only 3 seconds from Ward, but the pace seems to be very similar. But we are 10 minutes in this race, Joshua, and a lot happened. Brown falling down the order.
Andrew Brown now ruled as out. Did he get into an incident and tow it back into the pit lane maybe, Alessandro? He is falling way down the order.
There might be a connection drop, technical issues for the drivers from Grip TV.
Yes. It has unfortunately lost connection. Client disconnected, and Dan Parmalee around narrowly misses the cars behind.
Oh boy. This is action everywhere. It's hard to keep up with Roland after going for a long lap penalty in turn 1 a few minutes ago, back in 17th place.
Oh, and Christoph Volant now off into the grass.
Indeed, drivers having a bit of trouble today here at Road America, but I think someone who is really happy about what is going on here is our own Peter Mackay, who is lurking in the back and getting all these freebies, already up into 13th place. Look at him in the back.
To the outside of Martin Spalek goes Roger Christensen, battling for 11th overall. Peter Mackay watching further back in 13th. Christensen now on the inside. That's going to quickly turn to the outside, though, and Spalek going to cover the spot.
Okay, great racing between Spalek and Christiansen. Christiansen wants to bounce back from that very big mistake in race 1. He will now have the draft. Spalek stays in the middle of the track, gives him the choice to go inside or outside, push him a little bit wide, but I think Christiansen might have the edge around the outside, and indeed he gets that 11th place.
Michael Fang, 17th, and look at that damage. He hasn't pitted yet to get that fixed, and I don't know if he's going to, Alessandro.
I don't
he
think
wants
he
that
does.
track position, but he's running down in 17th. If it's not affecting anything, I don't think he really needs to come into pit road.
The car, I think, is quite heavily damaged. It looks like a modified to me, but apparently he decided to stay out. He might lose less time by staying out. You can see though here in the speed section on the straight how down on power the car is. As a Bradley Lewis has some trouble, and here we look at Roland and Weir for 14th place.
Kev Copeland also with damage, and you can see the amount of damage to that front end as well. He is also electing not to make his way into the pit lane. Don't think that's necessarily a bad idea, Alessandro, but you gotta be careful to make sure that there's no aero effects or that there's no engine effects to that damage.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a short race, so I think they should be able to get away with it. But at the same time, it's a bit tricky. You lose quite a lot of time by entering pit road and get that fast repair. It's about 35-40 seconds, so maybe in the end in 15 laps you wouldn't lose so much time, but you never know. As we look at Lewis Ward and Kessler gap opening up slightly in the last few laps, as you can see from your bottom right corner. Ward definitely looking very fast.
And Lewis Ward continuing to pull away about 3.8 seconds back to Max Kessler. The pro drivers have definitely all taken over the top of the leaderboard, but you don't have to look far back to find the first AM driver. 7th place, Luke Maxwell. Leon Erger running right behind in 8th. Erger looking to lock up the championship. He might be able to do it in race 1 of round number 9 next week from Virginia. Don't think he's going to be able to do it today, but it's going to be close as Copeland is still so far down the order.
Yeah, I am not very good at math, but it might be very, very close. If he can make up a few positions, he might be very close to clinching the titles today, but for sure Virginia is going to take not a lot of points for him to make sure he will be our amateur championship for this season of the Porsche Cup Championship here on Apex Racing TV. As we look at Salvatore Lernet in 6th place from this beautiful rear wing camera on Porsche Sport Car of Josh Camp.
On board with Cam as we look back on Larnay. Luke Maxwell is also back there, your current leader of the AM class. You can see Erger peeking behind as they exit out of the carousel. About halfway done now with race number 2, and there's still a good bit of battles on the racetrack. But Alessandro, we saw so many drivers going off track, getting into incidents there in the first couple of minutes of this race. Do you think it's safe to say they're going to calm down in the final half, or do you think it's going to be just as wild as the first?
It's going to be quite interesting. I think maybe not as wide as the first, since we have been already hit by a few calamities and the field is a bit more spread out compared to race 1. As you can see, the gaps, especially in the midfield, are much wider. But at the same time, look at that train we are looking right now with the 2 Impulse Racing teams and Christopher Kochanek for Ebony plus Ivory. These guys will definitely be fighting hard, but once Costa will be able to pass Kochanek, he for sure will have a free track in front of him. Kessler will give him the chance to hunt down a world for the lead.
On board, or looking at Max Kessler for Impulse Racing. Christopher Kochanek sitting behind, Pascal Costa right behind him. 2 Impulse Racing drivers completely trapping Christopher Kochanek for Ebony and Ivory right behind. This is the battle for second on the racetrack. Oh my, and the 167 of Pascal Costa using up all those track limits, having to swerve to keep on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's why he's fast and I am not. He uses all the racetrack to all extents and sometimes even more of that. But he knows how to get away with it. If I just drop a tire on the grass, I will be facing the wrong way 100%.
Through the carousel they go. Kessler keeps on to second place. And there's Kochanek sitting a little bit further back. Great move up the inside. This is Martin Spalik and Peter Mackay heading into the carousel. Mackay inside, or Mackay outside, Spalik inside. Now it's going to be Spalik up into 12th. Mackay now on his rear bumper.
Great battle between these two. Mackay using all the curve, carrying a lot of speed, but will now probably have to go all the way around. Ooh! Some love from Mackay to Spalik, and the Scottishman manages to make the pass work and move up into 12th place, even though he's still very, very close.
A good day so far for Mackay, sitting in 4th currently in the AM class. Kochanek now to the outside of Max Kessler. He's looking for 2nd place overall. And in the pro class, here comes the 2nd Impulse Racing driver of Pascal Costa, however. Gonna now go to the inside of Kochanek. He's gonna take the spot. Now Kochanek falls to the back end of this pack as the 2 Impulse Racing drivers almost go side by side. He's trying to cover him off. Kessler covers off his teammate Costa. Now Costa tries to cover off Kochanek. He looks to the inside heading into turn 5.
I don't know if this was meant to be like that, but for sure. Oh boy.
Track goes Kessler. He misses the corner completely.
Oh boy.
Kessler completely missed the corner, and off track he goes, losing so much time now as he goes up the hill. Oh,
Another...
one more car locking it up further back in turn 5.
Bradley Owens, Peter Mackay loses a position on Oliver Rodan, coming back after a mistake, and still side by side Erger with Kessler. Kessler still in front in 7th place, but what a mess there. It was really, really close. I think Kessler just got a bit scared of being in the way of his teammate and just missed the braking point there completely.
Kochanek now in 2nd place as he gets by Pascal Costa. Costa now in 3rd. And Salvatore Larnay losing a good bit of positions and sits in 4th now. Josh Cam rounds out your top 5 for Porsche Sport in 5th. As your top 5 for overall and in the pro class. Top 5 for the AM class. Maxwell, Erger, Holst, Mackay, and Spalik is your current top 5, and they're fairly spread out throughout the top 10 and throughout the top 15 at the moment in the leaderboard. Top 15 is 9 pro class drivers and 6 AM class drivers. We have 10 minutes left here in race 2. Here comes Costa on the inside of Kochenek looking for second.
Yeah, Slipstream doing its job, and Costa easily in front of the other German driver. So now Costa will have 5 seconds to catch Ward, but it's gonna be a very, very difficult task since we have only 10 minutes left. But Grabowski now looking to make valuable points, trying to pass Grendel, and then if he will manage to do so, we'll be looking at Fang in 21st place, 10 seconds ahead. With this damage, might be still possible to catch him, as Costa now has to defend on Kochenek. What a great exit by Kochenek, but it's not enough.
Costa takes over second place. Kochenek on the back bumper. Question is, how long can this battle go on for? 9 minutes remain, but Costa needs to defend. This is his best opportunity to gain a good amount of points against Kamil Grabowski, as Grabowski has only worked his way up to 22nd overall. And one more position, if Costa somehow catches up to Lewis Ward, and Lewis Ward makes a mistake from first, he's gonna gain 8 more points on Grabowski. This could be a huge day for Pascal Costa and open the door even wider for the championship.
Indeed, we are trying to figure out maths here, but we are a bit into trouble. So we will try to give you a better picture towards the end, as we have Kochenek in the gravel. What happened there?
And Kochenek loses multiple spots now from 2nd to 5th, or from 3rd to 5th, sorry. In the 114, heading into Canada corner. Almost runs into the back bumper of Pascal Costa up ahead. He spins it off into the gravel. Gets back on the racetrack, but loses 2 spots to both Lorne and Josh Cam.
Could have been much worse. He managed to keep the car quite on the racetrack and just lose a few important seconds, but still he's in 5th place, so he can still be in the hunt for a podium if he gets lucky. Plenty of mistakes, Joshua, in this race too. Whoever did not make mistakes finds himself now in a very good spot, because in front of him or in the middle of the pack at the start, anything happened pretty much.
Taking a look now, battle for the, looks to be the 3rd spot. Kochenek starting to work his way back up. There's Lorne and Josh Cam up ahead. But after Kochenek heading into the gravel, he lost both of his positions. He was in 3rd, then got passed by both the 127 and the 177, so he sits now in 5th. Max Kessler a little bit further back the road. You can see him just at the bottom of your screen right there for the moment. And now making their way through the carousel. Battle starting to spread out a little bit more, but also not too much, as we're on board with Leon Erger. Battle for first in the AM class between Luke Maxwell and himself. Maxwell not too far up the road. Can Erger get by heading into Canada?
Yeah, Leon Erger having that hood damage, definitely not gonna help him on the straight, but he's now looking at the inside of Maxwell. He wants to get that amateur lead back, and Leon Erger indeed does a great pass on the inside, but on the front stretch is gonna be difficult because Maxwell will be still very close. Mackay defending from Spalek.
Mackay keeps the spot on Spalek, but not for long. These two battled throughout race number 1 as well. Cannot separate those two at all today at Road America. To the outside for 3rd place goes Josh Cam. On the outside of Larnay, what's Kochenek gonna do? He's gonna go in the line on the outside. Oh, almost hits the back end of Josh Cam. picks it up in such a way he gets a great run off the corner. Now to the inside of Josh Cam with a crossover.
Great pass by Kochenek. I don't think he meant to do that, but he got away pretty well. So now he's actually in the hunt for third place as Salvatore Larnay swerves a bit around the track to break the draft. You always need to be careful to be doing that. As Kochenek looks at the inside, brakes really late, and is now very close, but look at the car going a bit sideways in the middle of the corner. Tires starting to give up slowly in these last 5 minutes of the race.
Larnay keeps that spot, but now Kochenek puts his way back up into fourth. Can he get back to third where he was before he ended up in the gravel? Time running out now inside, 5 minutes to go here in race number 2. Ward continues to pull away, but Costa etching away at that lead, but Alessandro, I don't think he has enough time.
No, it's very little time left. Costa will be just making his second place secure, and hopefully won't lose many points to Grabowski, since look at Grabowski in 20 seconds. He's only a few tenths out of Parnley and Fang, so he might be able to get a few positions as Peter Mackay having a bit of trouble in this last lap. I saw him dropping earlier from the timing tower a few positions, and now still facing trouble in the gravel. Ooh, too much
and
mark.
that is what happened to Mackay into the gravel heading out of the final corner. And perfect timing you brought up that points battle between Costa and Grabowski, Alessandro, because I was just doing some math and just figuring out exactly what's going to happen with the points if they finish where they are now. And to the outside of Salvatore Larnay for third place is Kochenek. He peeks the nose up there, just not able to rotate that car up there on the outside. But just doing some simple math at the moment, if Kamil Grabowski finishes 18th or worse, that will give Costa the points lead. Costa coming out of this round, if he finishes in second, is going to end up with 723, and we'll get back to that after this battle here, heading into turn 5. Larnay back on the inside, Grabowski outside, Josh Cam trying to catch back up. A little bit of a grass touch for Kochenek as he sits on the outside, still trying to keep that spot, but Larnay with a great move on the outside, and now he's going to head back into third, Kochenek back into fourth. But back to that points battle between Costa and Grabowski. If Grabowski finishes 18th or worse, Costa will have the points lead by 1 point.
Kessler had an off, and again, unfortunately, this race 2 has not been great for him, even though he's still managing to keep the car in the top 10, as Larnay, Kochenek and Cam still fighting for third place. We've seen Erger and Maxwell swapping position previously for 6th and 7th. Grabowski managed to make up another position and up to 20th. He will have the chance to pass also David Bigadike for 19th, and I think if nothing happens in front, that's probably where his comeback will stop.
Now the way that around goes Bradley Hulse, heading into Canada corner, coming out of turn 13A.
Oh, this is a towing. This is what Grabowski needed.
Now the way that it's going to work out for Grabowski is, if he finishes 16th or better, he will keep the points lead, albeit not by much, but he will keep that points lead away from Costa, and just right into the grass for Bradley Hulse, and a hard hit into the guardrail.
Got some help by the satellite car of Nick Rowland. Very close contact. Kochenek
into the grass as well. But Grabowski is only one more position up. If he finishes 17th, he'll be tied with Costa heading into the final round. If he finishes 18th or worse, he will not have the points lead heading into Virginia next week, as Kochenek with a dive to the inside of Larnay, a little bit too much speed, goes right back into the gravel and narrowly misses that wall again.
Yeah, he's lucky to be 5th. I must say, because he got super lucky in this race with some mistakes that in the end managed to salvage with a very good pace, as Grabowski makes another pass and moves up into 18th place, so it's gonna be very, very close.
Now Costa, if he finishes in second, is going to end off the day at 723 points. If Grabowski finishes where he is in 18th, he'll end up with 722. So 1 point separating the top two in the Pro Class Championship. And right now, looking at the timing screen, he is a solid 8 seconds back from 17th, Christoph Volant. I don't think he has enough time to catch him. I don't think he will catch him because Lewis Ward's going to come across the line and take the white flag this time by.
He's going to take the checker flag, I think, this time by.
Oh, sorry, yes, he will. He will take the checkered flag. I was too busy doing math. My apologies. But Lewis Ward coming out of the final corner will end off the day with a race to victory for the Pro Class and overall. Team 11 goes to victory lane here at Road America in race 2.
Amazing drive from in that track position at the start. Costa very happy to get second place and get some valuable points. Salvatore Darnay with a very good podium in front of George Kam and Kolchanek. But here is our AM winner, amateur winner, Leon Erger in front of Maxwell. What a great fight for the win as Kessler makes a pass, I think, on Forster right before the finish line for 9th place. 11th is Roland, and here unfortunately Michael Fang with a damaged car. Peter Mackay defending from Foliant for 16, which is still a good result, to be fair, after he had some issues in the last 10 minutes. A very good result for him, and coming now towards the finish line is our previous, let's say, championship leader, Kamil Grabowski. Not happy, I guess. But what a race, Josh.
And those points that I was mentioning for Costa and Grabowski, when they came across the line, it's provisionally there'll be 1 point separating those two, but there is still bonus points that can be awarded. For instance, 0 incident points is one bonus point. Those incidents recorded by iRacing, so it could receive a bonus point, but
I think it's
the
difficult
way they're
in
looking
this
at
race.
right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could happen, but where we are right now, we can either safely assume that there are either 2 points, 1 point, or 0 points separating those two. And either way, we're going to have one heck of a championship fight going in to the final 2 races in the next round in Virginia. Well, we're going to get to our post-race show in just a moment, but real quick, we're going to take a break to thank a few sponsors. Don't go anywhere. Post-race show for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship is coming up.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship into the post-race show here on Apex Racing TV. Joshua Lee, Alessandro Dalladone back with you, and we're going to immediately get into our driver interviews. Starting off, AM class, first place from race number 2, Leon Erger, and the current points leader of AM class as well, heading into the final round, standing by with Alessandro.
Yeah, Leon, welcome back to the booth. Another quite an interesting event, I must say, because a lot of up and downs, but in the end you came home with another great scoring, and championship standings look pretty much wrapped up.
It's good to hear. Yeah, definitely an event for a race, both races. Yeah, managed to get away with it, but really lucky though. Had incidents in both races, both of which I don't think are purely my fault, so it's kind of annoying because in race 2 I think I had the chance to get a podium, which I mean, everyone wants to win a podium once, so kind of frustrated, but I guess I shouldn't complain since I managed to get away with pretty damaged cars. So yeah, good racing, and yeah, good to have such a big lead.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do some math with taking into account also drop weeks, but for next round in at Virginia International Raceway, it's gonna be very, very close for you. You just need to keep the car clean, score some solid points, and it should be our amateur championship winner. Virginia, a new track for you, I think, as most of them this season, so it's gonna be another intense week of training.
Yeah, well, there's one problem with that. I am, yeah, about 90% sure I'll miss the final round. So that's why I needed to pull such a gap to Kev Copeland, basically. I'm gonna watch the final race. Unfortunately, probably will not be able to race there. So I'm freaked out right now. I need to do the math as well.
For sure, it's sad that you won't be able to join us next time, but at the same time, before we let you go, we want to thank you for giving us such a great show. Anyone you would like to thank before we let you go then?
Well, first of all, the whole grid here. It's been awesome racing. I mean, the first round really at Long Beach, a little bit of a crash disaster to start the season off, but everyone kept it together and it got cleaner all the way through. And I'm pretty impressed of the racing, of all the organization that goes around it. And thank you to all of you guys who organized this and give us the awesome broadcast. Really fun to watch back. And yeah, big shout out to Frozen Sweet Full Send Racing, my team, as always supportive. And yeah, I'll be on the grid sometime soon.
For sure. Thank for joining us, Leon, as usual. Next season, if he will come back, I don't think we'll be in the amateur class because I think he might get promoted. But nevertheless, an amazing season from him. But Joshua, now let's move on his major rival this season in the amateur class, Kev, right
well,
next to you.
Yeah, well, Kev, not exactly the race you were looking for, and I think not exactly the season you were looking for either. Pretty much out of the title contention right now for the AM class, but does this take the pressure off of you heading into the next round? And how much pressure were you feeling heading into this round anyways, knowing that you needed to make up so many points?
To be fair, I wasn't feeling that much pressure because it was a long shot anyway. You know, I'd have needed to beat Leon by quite some margin in both races to kind of keep my foot in the door of the championship. So the pressure wasn't too much there, to be honest. It was nice to get a couple of places on him in race 1. But yeah, I just got really unlucky in race 2 at turn 3 and then later on at turn 7. So the race 2 was quite disappointing, but race 1 was really hard work but really enjoyable. So I enjoyed that. And even the end of race 2, I was still battling with people, even though we were down in the teens. So it was still good once I got away from the accident, but I had quite a bit of damage, so I was slow.
Well, heading into Virginia next week, now that you don't have that title contention is almost completely out of the realm of possibility for you with the drop weeks and everything. Are you feeling more confident heading into next round, knowing that, okay, I'm here just to see what I can do, and are you going to try and walk away with the win?
I quite like VIR. It's a very, very tough track, so I need to get the practice in. But I'll definitely be going for it. And if I can at least keep Leon honest in that race, that'd be nice, and that'd be really good. And I don't know where the points leave me between me and Michael after those 2 races, because he was pretty close coming into that round. So whether I'll be able to maintain my second place, I don't know.
And let's talk about
Thank you.
That was Marco saying yes. Talk about next season, because we can assume we're going to have another championship here in the Porsche Cup Championship on Apex Racing TV in the Apex Racing League. Are you going to be competing in that, and are you going to try and get another championship there? Since you're not going back to back, you're going to try and go 2 for 3.
I think it's a distinct possibility. I do enjoy racing these cars, and we've got a good field of competitive drivers out there, which make it fun to race. You know, it's no good running around at the back of the field when everyone else is much quicker than you, and it's also no good running at the front of the field when everyone else is slower than you. So I really enjoy having the battles. That's what keeps it fun. So if we keep that, then it's entirely likely I'll be back next season.
Anyone else you would like to thank here on Apex Racing TV?
Just my lady wife for putting up with all my rig shenanigans throughout the week, and you guys for the stream, and a particular special mention tonight for Bob for being my wingman in race 1 and really doing a super defense for me and enabling me to keep that win. So thanks, Bob. Love you.
Thank you very much for joining us up here in the booth. That's Kev Copeland from the AM class today, and we're moving on to your 5th place finisher overall and in the pro class, Christopher Kochanek, who's standing by with Alessandro.
Yeah, indeed. First, we want just to give you confirmation that the point difference between 1st and 2nd place is 1 point after the point got updated, so it's official. It's gonna be super close at Virginia. But at the same time, let's have a quick chat with Christopher, since he has plenty of things to tell us, because his race was quite an eventful one too, having some crazy misses with the world close calls in race 2, but still finishing in top 5. So amazing pace, Christopher.
Yeah, thank you. So my race day was pretty eventful, as you already told us. But to be clear, I missed a lot of my breakpoints because I was maybe underestimating the draft kind of bit. But yeah, race 1 and 2 was pretty eventful and also pretty nice. In my opinion, one of the funniest and most competitive tracks if you're fast. And yeah, had no bigger crashes, only slight mistakes, but I could recover.
Well, for sure, today plenty of people had trouble, got a bit caught out by the draft and also the track, because especially in race 2, we've seen multiple drivers making a lot of mistakes compared to the previous rounds of the season. Everyone going for that podium, goes for that points, for the championship. Do you think that is also something we have to take into account for next round at Virginia, for example?
Yeah, for sure. The fight of Grabowski and Costa is gonna be maybe one of the closest next race, because they are so close by 1 point, as I heard. So they're gonna be fighting as hard as they can, because they're fighting for the win, obviously.
Absolutely, and coming back to that, obviously it's all pending protests, so things might change throughout the week. I invite you to go check the website of Apex Racing League to keep up to date. But before we let you go, Christopher, anybody you would like to thank?
As last time, my team, of course, and to keep it short, everyone who's supporting me.
Well, absolutely. Thanks for joining us here in the booth for round 8. Looking forward to hear from you next week, as we have still time to have a quick chat with Bradley Hurst, showing today plenty of speed, Joshua, and getting some decent battles in. So absolutely delighted to see him up front.
Yeah, definitely, Bradley, you did show a good bit of speed, but obviously not the luck you were looking for. Down in 26th overall, and I believe 1 lap down as well. Just talk about the bad luck during that race, and also the high moments you had, because we saw some speed out of that 228 today.
Yeah, I had a very average qualifying near back as usual. I had a really good start in race 1, managed to get through field, and you can always rely on pros to have a messy race, so got through one at a time, capitalising on all their mistakes and whatnot. Then race 2 had a good start, and unfortunately with 2 to go, I got into an incident, into barrier, and just ended my race like that after being in a battle for P11 for the entire race pretty much. So a bit gutted, but part of racing.
Now heading into the final 2 races in Virginia next week. We've heard a bit of mixed feelings about the track. How do you feel about the track, and how confident are you that you can try and get a good finish to end out the season?
Yeah, it can't be any worse than Road America for me, so hopefully we'll get another good bag of points and we'll see where we're finishing it. I haven't even bought the track yet, so plenty of practice over the week. I need to get in.
Anyone else you would like to thank here on Apex Racing TV?
Yeah, thanks to Apex for broadcasting it and setting it up as usual. Thanks to all the guys at Wampy Motorsport, and thanks to the guys at Twin Jet for supporting me. And I think that's it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for joining us up here in the booth. That's Bradley Hulse from the Pro class. And that's going to do it for us here on Apex Racing TV. Make sure that you tune in exactly 1 week from now. We are going to crown an AM class, a Pro class, and an overall team's champion from the virtual Virginia International Raceway. For Marco Barbonera, Alessandro Daladone, I am Joshua Lee, and we'll see you next week for the finale of the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship.